Hello, this is Ruslan Belov with you. Yesterday, the White House press secretary stated that Trump made it clear he is dissatisfied with both the president of Russia and the president of Ukraine, that he is unhappy with both Russia and Ukraine. And one can only say in response, we honestly don't really care what Trump is happy or unhappy about. If he's not satisfied, let him remain unsatisfied. As for us, we continue to analyze the situation at the front. Let's open the map. So friends, yesterday was a very eventful day in terms of territorial gains. In total, over 25 square kilometers came under Russian control in just one day, which is twice as much as the usual daily advancement. Moreover, the majority of the gains happened in a single area, where even the untrained eye can see how the Ukrainian front is beginning to collapse. So, let's start with that area. We're talking about Toretsk, or more precisely, not the city itself. All positions there have already been restored, and the city is under full and undisputed control of the Russian army. What we're talking about is the flanks, and there's movement here, both from the west and the east, as well as the north. Let's begin with the advances to the northeast. There are two sectors where gains were recorded. The first one is here, near Druzhba, a small push along the road in the direction of Delivka. To be precise, Big Delivka, because there's also a smaller one located here. So while the advance may not sound too impressive in numbers, around 700 meters of depth and about 1 square kilometer in area, it's still strategically significant. Because reaching Delivka allows solving not just one, but actually 3 objectives. First, connecting with positions in the area of Belaya Gora. Second, clearing out this entire pocket, which has a decent size, about 20 square kilometers. And third, of course, establishing more stable positions from which a future offensive toward Konstantinovka could begin. In fact, to give you a better idea, everything happening here right now, everything you're seeing, is preparation for the major battle for Konstantinovka, a large city with a population of over 100,000 people. We've already discussed this in a separate episode. Capturing Konstantinovka is one of the key objectives of the spring-summer campaign. And while there are talks going around about peace, the reality at the front is that the fighting remains extremely intense, a real meat grinder, brutal clashes. I've shown footage in my Telegram channel that can't be posted here because YouTube would never allow it. That footage shows what remains of the Ukrainian armed forces and the fact that they're sending women into battle, and 18-year-old boys as well. I've shown that too. And actually, that matches up with recent statements. Just yesterday, the deputy head of the Office of the President of Ukraine stated that it's time to introduce mandatory service not only for men, but also for women. And prior to that, one of the senior officials from the military enlistment centers also said that 18-year-olds should be drafted on a mandatory basis. So clearly, that's the direction things are heading. I've posted those videos in my Telegram channel as well, so follow the link in the description to check out footage you won't find just anywhere. Back to the front. Aside from the push from Druzhba toward Delivka, there was also a recovery of previously lost positions in Krimskoye. Almost half of Krimskoye is now under full control, and the rest is considered a grey zone, with no Ukrainian troops observed there. But all of that is relatively minor compared to 2 other thrusts. Remember, on Friday we talked about a major breakthrough, 6 kilometers from Touretsk toward Nellapovka. Well, from Nellapovka itself, where Russian forces managed to consolidate their position, they've now advanced further along the road toward Alexander Shultine. The total depth of this advance is nearly 1.5 kilometers. And take a look at what this means. Even to the naked eye, it's clear. A semi-encirclement, a partial cauldron is being formed. Call it what you want. The fact remains. Once again, the Ukrainian forces are at risk of being surrounded. But that's only part of the problem. Their front is also crumbling in the west, where yesterday alone the army managed to capture 15 square kilometers in a single area. The western flank of Touretsk is also starting to fall apart for the Ukrainian forces. First of all, take a look at this line here. This is the breach in Ukrainian defenses in the suburbs of Touretsk, in the village of Pokrovsk. Yesterday, an armored column broke through from Leonidovka into the village and advanced along Engels Street deep into the settlement. The total depth of the breakthrough was 1,850 meters. In Pokrovsk itself, the depth of the advance is over 700 meters. And importantly, this isn't an advance through open fields. It's within residential areas. To push 700 meters in one go through urban terrain is actually a significant success. Overall, this is very important. But why exactly? Because these very suburbs, Petrovka and Sherbinovka, which still remain under Ukrainian control, along with Leonidovka, which hasn't been fully cleared yet, are essentially like a 20-kilogram weight tied to your leg. That's probably the best way to put it. You can move forward, but it's extremely difficult and slow. In short, the AFU, Armed Forces of Ukraine, still act as a powerful restraining factor here. That's why the Russian army can't yet move at full capacity toward Konstantinovka until these large villages are brought under control. So breakthroughs like these, deep into these settlements, play a critically important role in breaking through Ukraine's overall defense line in this area. Things are even worse for the AFU, slightly further west. Take a look. Over just 2 days of fighting, the Ukrainian forces lost a pretty significant chunk of territory. Just this past Thursday, the front line was running here, along the border of the village of Arkhangelskoye. But now it has moved beyond Kalynova. Let's measure the total depth of this advance. There we go, more than 4 kilometers. And the total area brought under control is around 15 square kilometers, including the village of Kalynova itself, of course. A very impressive result. And this is not a grey zone, it's full control by the Russian army. There's already video footage showing the Russian flag flying in the village. So this advance is quite significant. Why? Because as you can see, Ukraine is facing issues here too. The American map hasn't updated yet, but the Ukrainian deep state resource already shows the change. Let's switch to their map for a moment. You see, Valentinivka is already marked as a grey zone. That means there was already information yesterday about Russian assault units entering the village. And if a Ukrainian source marks it as grey, then it's very likely that the village is already under Russian control. Plus, you can see there's an encirclement forming from 3 sides around the key village of Sukhaya Balka. And it's important because the defensive line in this sector of the front runs right through it. Now let's go back to the American map. Thanks to the breakthrough near Kalynova, the movement is now continuing along the road directly towards Sukhaya Balka. And considering the successful assault on Valentinivka, the result will likely be the complete clearing of this pocket, which covers around 35 square kilometers. That's 1. And 2. The advance will also continue towards Stara Nikolaevka, which means the front line is steadily approaching Konstantinovka. So once again, let's make it clear, everything happening here right now is preparation for the summer assault on Konstantinovka. And as you can see, the AFU are struggling to hold the line, one collapse after another, and another, and another. And honestly, I'd love to look in the face of those who, just a month ago, were panicking in the comments under my videos, saying things like, "Oh no, the AFU have taken back 50% of Touretsk. It's over. The Russian army is retreating." Well, what now? They retook half of Touretsk, did they? Really? Doesn't look like it. There's also an advance on the eastern flank of Pokrovsk. Here, there's been a small push, about 880 meters, in the direction of Myrolyubivka. It's been quiet in this area for almost a month, so it's hard to say for now whether this is part of a new offensive operation or just a tactical adjustment. We'll see. I think it'll become clearer soon. And that's all I have for today regarding the situation on the front. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.